Hello, my friends. Here I am, Pedro Candeias from Portugal, the founder of Karate Science Academy. And today we are going to keep with the elite WKF athletes analysis of some videos they share on their social media um, about their strength and conditioning. Okay, so I'm not going to introduce this analysis I'm doing this week because I already made it on Monday, and I just have 20 minutes counting from now to share as much knowledge as I can with you in a practical way. Everything I talk about in the Karate Science Academy is 100% based on the best evidence available at this moment about what I watch in the videos. So let's do it and let's not waste time. I'm going to share here my screen, okay? So today we are going to analyze 4 videos, if I'm not wrong, from our strength and conditioning analysis, like this. Whoa. From Kiyou, I think it's right this, Shimizu, okay? Japanese kata athlete, the vice Olympic champion this summer, okay? And let's see what she shared on her Instagram, and let's talk about how can you use them to your own training or your karateka's training, athletes or non-athletes, it doesn't matter, okay? Even if you are focused more on kumite or some time of full contact fighting inside karate, kyokushinkai, karate combat, MMA, whatever, okay? Physical conditioning, there are some details that are not the same, okay, in terms of training methodology, but the principles are the same. You just have to adapt them to the karate you practice, okay? So let's watch the first video. Okay, let me call your attention to the importance of including this type of training, hitting a target with full power, okay? Of course, if you train to full contact fights as karate combat, kyokushinkai, or MMA, this is foundational, okay? If you do it, you already know that, okay? It's not a new that I'm giving you, but if you are a karateka that focus more on kata or in WKF kumite where you control your strikes, even if you hit your opponent, it's always in a controlled way, okay? But even then, this is important. Why? Because of your intermuscular coordination, the way you make the most out of your agonists, your muscles that are the prime movers of a kick, for example, or a gyakuzuki, a displacement, whatever, okay? So if you always train speed and power, kicking the air or a target, but in a controlled way, you are always impairing, breaking your full power and speed production. Do you understand me? Okay. It's important, of course, near competitions that you make it as you have to do it in the tournament, okay? WKF competitions, for example, if you are striking a target with full power, full speed, you might get penalized with that in a fight. But when you are a little further from the main competitions, it's important to hit the target with full speed and full power, because that will help you to develop higher levels of speed and power. Your central nervous system, your neuromuscular system needs that type of stimulus without, I'm missing the word, I'm from Portugal, I'm sorry. Without stopping the movement, the strike, the technique too early, okay? So it's important that you also include this type of training in your karate specific techniques for speed and power. Of course, you have to manage it along a season, along a year, along a 5-year period. If you make kata, for example, you have to control the movement at the end, okay? Even the kime, that final isometric, very fast contraction we make at the end to give that sensation, okay? That demands that our antagonist muscles activate a little earlier compared to hitting a target with full power, full speed, okay? So both of them are important. One, because it's specific of kata, for example, or WKF committee, that control, and hitting will develop a higher range of power and speed, okay? So now, another situation, just to call your attention for one thing. All the knowledge I shared in Karate Science Academy is always based on the best evidence available at this moment, okay? Science doesn't know everything. It's a process, okay, of adding more and more answers and more knowledge. And everything I share is methods that are in the white zone of evidence, as I call it, as being reliable, as being valid, as being methods that are clearly demonstrated that will take you to the next level in terms of strength and conditioning, okay? And what Shimizu is doing here is in the gray area of evidence, as I use the term for me. We can say it's not effective, but we cannot say it's effective because there is no clear evidence if the displacements in karate or any other sport becomes better, faster, okay, more powerful using some type of external load, in this case, rubber band. We can't say it, okay? So it's 50-50. It might be effective. In some years, we might have more answers about it, but in this, at this moment, it's just a theoretical method, an hypothesis, okay, that some coaches started to develop, started to include, of course, based most of times on something. For example, if we make a kick or a punch using a rubber band, evidence shows that in every sport, the technical gesture will become faster and more powerful if you use the right protocol. But in terms of displacements, that is a little bit different than just making a movement, okay, with the arms or the legs. We are not sure. So if you ask my personal opinion, that which value is 0 as anyone's opinion, regardless of being very important or very famous or a champion or what else, if it's not demonstrated by solid evidence, it's always an opinion. It's always our personal experience. It's always a theory. So it might be effective. It might be not. So it's your choice to follow this type of exercise or not. Okay. Next video. Let's talk a little bit about the core training. This is basically a balance exercise. I don't like the word balance because of course, influenced by some of my teachers in college, but they are right. Balance is everything. When I'm seated on a chair, I'm working my balance to not fall from the chair. If I'm making kata, I'm working my balance in kata. If I'm walking on the street, I'm developing my balance walking on the street. So balance training is basically everything, okay? So, but this type of exercise, specific exercise that we use to specifically target some parts of balance control, let's start calling it sensory motor training. One day I explain you why. I'm really committed in the future to make a course, a short course about it, because it's important. There is some solid evidence about this type of training. But regardless of talking about balance, this is a balance exercise, but let's talk specifically about the core, okay? This can be considered also a core stability exercise. Okay, let's watch it. Shimizu makes it's in an unstable surface. Okay, performing Maigari and some variations, and then she moves the trunk, placing a greater challenge in the balance control. Okay. Here is she's also stimulating core stability, for example. So let's start by understanding what core really is. When we search a little bit on social media or on YouTube, we put core training. What appears to us 90% of times? Abdominal training, okay? But this is a misunderstanding about what core is, because the core is not the abdominal zone. The abdominal zone makes part of core, but core is a more complex structure that includes, okay, the abdominal zone, the abdominal wall. I don't know. Call it what you want. Obliques, rectus abdominis, and transversus abdominis, for example. The abdominal wall in the front, okay, is the front part of the core. Then you have the paraspinals in your back and the glutes. Yes, the glutes make part of the core in the back, okay. Then you have in the top your diaphragm. This is like a box we have in the center of our body, okay, on the top. And then you have on the bottom the pelvic floor and the muscle girdle muscles, okay. So this is the core. So when we talk about core exercises or core training for karate that will have a good transferability to kumite and kata, we are not talking about isolating the abdominal work, the paraspinals work, the glutes work, the pelvic floor work, okay? We are talking about choosing exercises that include all the core structure. For example, an exercise as a deadlift or a squat can be considered a core exercise, okay? Of course, you are going to activate as agonists, for example, your quads, your glutes, for example, okay? But the core is being stimulated as a stabilizer, for example, okay? The glutes in those exercises as agonists also. So the core training is way more complex when we want to transfer it for karate, boxing, soccer, basketball, whatever. We need to look at him as a complex structure and not isolating each muscle or muscle group of the core. Okay, so I'm not going to, I can't go further than this, just you to understand that making planks, for example, is not quite the best exercise to develop core or core stabilization for karate. For example, if you are a jiu-jitsu athlete, you work on the ground, the planks are great, are way more transfer specific for those who fight on the ground, but those who fight on standing on their foot, it's not a really good choice, okay? It may have his role, but not a priority. So, and when I see the core training of karate athletes, even elite athletes, I just see ab working on the floor, core stabilization on the floor. No, okay? Evidence doesn't support that. Okay. This example of Shimizu is a great example. For example, the core is as any other muscle, need to work its stabilization, its strength, my English sometimes, its power, its endurance. As any other muscle group, the muscles of the core can and must develop these abilities, these capacities, okay? So never forget that. We must really start to understanding what really core is. So let's go. Next video. Shimizu is going to perform an exercise that when you look, what you see, balance training, because balance is everywhere, okay? Don't forget this also. So, but let's look at this exercise by the eyes, with the eyes of one specific method that is, let me put here, video 3, the eccentric overload training. Not for maximal strength, not for hypertrophy, but to develop the ability to stabilize a very fast movement, displacement that we may do in kata or kumite. So what do we do in this method? Let's see what Shimizu does. She makes a very wide jump in this case, okay, that will place a certain amount of eccentric load, okay. How do we transform this from an eccentric load to an eccentric overload? By making a very a wider, in this case, jump, and then asking our athletes, our karatekas, to break the movement as fast and as stable as possible, okay? Not, for example, stabilizing the position with little jumps. No, you will make a wide displacement that you have to stop in a very fast movement, a shorter movement, okay? You make a wide jump, and you ask your karatekas to stop it in a very fast, in a very short position time, okay? Let's suppose if you cut this movement by half, the eccentric load will be lower, okay? If you make a wider stance, you will place a greater eccentric load, okay? In this case, Shimizu already makes a very wide jump in just one leg. With two legs is less intense, and she adds an Olympic barbell that weighs more or less 20 kilograms, okay? So she places more load besides her body weight, okay? So you have to manage it looking at your karatekas. Maybe they have to start with a narrower jump, or two legs, okay? Then one leg, then a wider jump, then you can make put some load, okay? It's a progression, but it's an evidence-based effective methodology to develop the ability to break the movement. In kata, for example, we make a certain amount of displacement sequences that we have to stop really steady at the end. In kumite, we have to develop the ability to make a wide step with a yakuzuki and then stop and return, change direction. And this type of training, the biggest benefit it has is that will help you to develop your change of direction speed. Whenever you have to change direction, you go front and then backward, front, diagonal, front to the side to back, whatever. Any change of direction you have to make fast, okay? In kata or kumite will be improved with this type of work. Yes? Okay. Now, last video. Nothing special, just to call your attention for some ideas that Shimizu shows us that are more specific to the movements she has to make in her katas, okay? So I'm not going to talk about any detailed technical execution, none of that, just a way of remembering you that whenever you can put the right load according to the goals you have in each training cycle. Whenever you can put some external load in to develop your speed, strength, and power for karate. You must choose exercises that are similar to what you do in the karate you do, or use multi-joint exercises as the ones we saw in the last three analyses with Damien Quintero, the Iran National Committee team, and Sandra Sanchez. Okay, so if you didn't watch those analyses, please go there, and are 20 minutes more each analysis. Okay, so today we are done. I want to remember you that this analysis is like a warm-up for the special online event I'm going to promote next week. Completely free, 3 masterclasses, at least 1 hour and a half in duration each masterclass. Really deep knowledge. If you want to know what the event is, you click in the link on the link in the description below of the video. I really believe you are going to enjoy it if you are one of those karate coaches or athletes or students that are really seeking for deep knowledge about evidence-based training methodology, because it will be some deep knowledge, practical, everything adapted to what we need in karate. So just register, prepare your notebook, your pen, cup of coffee, and you will surely enjoy it. And I believe you will take your karate teaching to another level. Okay, so thank you very much, and see you tomorrow with the last analysis, or next week in the event. Cheers, my friends.